Hello and welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. My name is Iven Streckel, owner of Frontier Motors. And for the next half hour, we're going to be talking about what's going on in the car industry, a little bit about what's going on at Frontier Motors in Pensacola, Florida, and a little bit about us, what makes us different than the other used car dealerships or car dealerships out there. If you're not interested in a car, don't turn the channel. We have a lot of information that you might be able to relate to someone when they are in the market for the car. One of the things that we talk about at Frontier Motors, because we are an independent dealer, independent dealer means that we're not a franchise dealer. We don't sell brand new Chevrolets or brand new Buicks or brand new Fords. We sell used cars. Now, just because we sell used cars doesn't mean these cars are 5 to 10 years old. We have a lot of cars in stock that are sometimes as new as 3 or 4 months, that have as little as 10 or 15 miles on them. I would think our average claim to fame is going to be the fact that we sell the alternative to new. So if you're looking for a brand new car, before you sign the dotted line, you always want to stop in at Frontier Motors, talk to one of our sales reps, and let's see how much we can save you on a vehicle that might only be about 6 months old. Matter of fact, I always bring one of my testimonials from our friend Dave Ramsey with us, and he is actually picked Frontier Motors to be his go-to dealer of choice in the Pensacola area if you're going to be buying a car. Let's see what Dave Ramsey has to say.
Hey, Pensacola, Dave Ramsey here. Thinking of buying a brand new car? Well, that's a big mistake. Last year, the average new car was $36,000, and the first year depreciation was 27%. That equates to a whopping $9,200. Go to the dealer that specializes in low-mileage, one-year-old cars and trucks, my friends at Frontier Motors. They're a used car dealer that I'm proud to recommend. Frontier will save you money over the price of a new car and make the usually dreaded car buying experience a whole lot more enjoyable. They've been serving the Pensacola community for 23 years, and they do much more than just sell cars. Replacement value, diminished value after an accident, Carfax reports, appraisals, help with paperwork for private transactions. They will do it all at no charge. Visit them online at frontiermotorsinc.com or stop by their lot on Beverly Parkway. When you're there, don't forget to tell them Dave sent you.
That's a pretty good testimonial. And Dave Ramsey actually picked Frontier Motors. We didn't call him and say, hey, do some commercials for us. He called us and said, hey, I want to do a commercial for you. And I said, well, I'm not sure about that. But then when he did one for us at no charge, it was so good on his testimonial that I said, absolutely. And so many people follow the Dave Ramsey show, including myself. And we have gotten so many customers and so much feedback off the fact that he says, if you're going to be buying a car, at least check out Frontier Motors in the Pensacola area. And his little gurus that hang out with him, they double-checked the dealership. They double-checked our dealership before they signed up with us to make sure that we didn't have any Better Business Bureau complaints and such as that. And, you know, in the 23 years we've been here, I can knock on wood and say we really take care of our customers, and that's not just a slogan, that's something that we actually do. I know a lot of car dealerships say that, but then when you have a problem, it's all about the money. Because when you have a problem with a used car, what is it all about? It's the fact that something probably broke and you're trying to figure out who's supposed to pay for it. Most people that buy a used car are pretty reasonable. They know if they have a warranty, if they don't have a warranty. It's something that maybe would break right after you bought the car, that even if it isn't under warranty, that you might expect the dealer would have maybe taken a better look at that vehicle. And of course, you go back to the dealer, and what do they tell you when you go back and say, hey, I bought this car 3 days ago, and all of a sudden the air conditioner stopped working? Well, they normally tell you, well, you bought that car as is, you signed the as is statement, so therefore it is as is. And at Frontier Motors, I would hope that we would help you make sure that something like that, as an example, would be taken care of. And that's what I'm talking about when we help after the sale. It's just not all talk. As I promised when we started the show 5 minutes ago, that we talk not only about Frontier Motors, but also what's happening in the car industry. And I got the new list of cars. I shouldn't say a new list. This is actually a list from about 12 months ago. And I didn't realize that so many cars have been discontinued. I always get questions on if a car is discontinued, what does it do to its resale value? As an example, I have one of my friends that their car just wore out. It was an old Cadillac. I think it was about a 20-year-old Cadillac. And he called me up. He says that I am thinking about purchasing a used Continental from you. But what does it do to the fact they just announced they're not making that Lincoln Continental for 2021? And I say it doesn't do anything. I'm not sure if you all remember years ago when Oldsmobile went out of business. Well, we were at Frontier Motors when that happened. And I'll tell you what, the value of the Oldsmobiles, when they announced they were discontinuing the whole lineup, actually went up in value because there were people that were so loyal to Oldsmobile, they came and said, hey, I want one of the last ones. Find me one that's 1 year old or 6 months old because I can drive that car for another 10 to 15 years. So the values actually went up. So just because the car is discontinued doesn't mean that the value is going to go down. Now, there are some cars that are being discontinued that just never caught on. For example, the Buick Cascada. If you don't know what that is Buick's attempt at a sporty convertible. And it never really worked. It was a quite expensive car. It was about a $40,000 car. I think base price was $35 all the way to $45 depending on equipment. But it looked kind of weird. So it never really took off. Now, the Lincoln MKC, which is their small SUV that looks like the Ford Escape. Most people know that Ford and Lincoln are basically the same company. Lincoln is a little higher lineup, and the Ford Escape it sits on the same chassis that the Lincoln MKC is on, and the MKC has just been announced that it's discontinued. Very good selling highline small SUV because of their depreciation. They depreciate a lot, which means that when you buy that car 1 year old, you get a bargain on it. It's not unusual to get a Lincoln MKC that's 1 year old that's got a $50,000 original window sticker, and you can buy it 1 year old for $30,000. That's a pretty good depreciation, more than normal and more than even Dave Ramsey said at the average being 27% in the first year. The discontinued, the car of the year for 2019, according to Motor Trend, which was the Chevy Impala. Isn't that something? Car of the year, now it's discontinued, and the Impala has been one of their top selling cars forever and ever. Now, why are most of these vehicles being discontinued? Well, the shift is from cars to SUVs for two reasons. That's what people are buying. They're making SUVs now that have good gas mileage. One of the reasons SUVs weren't that good of a seller 10 years ago is because a lot of them were on truck frames. They were very heavy, they were clunky, and they were noisy, and they didn't get very good gas mileage. If anything, they got as bad a gas mileage as the pickup trucks did. Well, now they're coming in with turbocharged, supercharged motors that are small, yet they are not noisy like they used to be, and they're very fuel efficient. It's not unusual to get 30 to 35 miles per gallon with an SUV these days. Because of that, and they sit up higher, and I would consider a little safer because they have better visibility. Even if the crash tests were the same in a car and an SUV, the visibility is better in an SUV, so you can actually see ahead of the car in front of you, which of course is a great safety feature. The Cadillac CT6, which is their flagship big car, gone. The Prius C, if you don't know the difference between a Prius and a Prius C, the Prius is the top selling hybrid in the nation. Actually, it might be the whole world. But the Prius C was a smaller version of that. It was about $5,000 to $6,000 less. Kind of a goofy looking little car. We didn't sell a lot of them. We did sell some of them, but that car's been discontinued. The Honda Fit, which is their small hatchback car. Excellent car, but again, they're making that into a small SUV, and they don't need both of them anymore. The Acura RXL is gone. The Hyundai Elantra GT hatchback, which to me was the best looking Elantra out there. Well, nobody agreed with me because they're not making them anymore. The Jaguar, they're discontinuing the XE model and the XF model. Again, both of these are cars being replaced by SUVs. The Lexus GS350, which is their sporty car, that was in the middle. You have the ES350 midsize sedan, then the GS, and then you have the LS. And the GS has now been discontinued. Excellent sporty car. Phenomenal reliability. I would not ever talk you out of buying one, even though now they have announced it's discontinued. Let me turn this phone off. I hate when it does that. Funny how I turn my phone off. And by the way, we are live right now on Facebook. We've got Ryan O'Keely from O'Keely Media here to answer your questions. So if you've got any question, you go on Facebook, just type in Frontier Motors, and my ugly mug will pop up. And if you got a question, just go ahead and type it in there, and Ryan will get it to me. So I appreciate you. Anybody that's listening live right now, appreciate that. Mercedes has canceled the SLK. If you don't know what that is, that's their small sporty convertible. They just recently renamed it the SLC, and that car has been discontinued. The Toyota Yaris sporty hatchback, really good selling car for us, discontinued, excellent reliability. The Alfa Romero 4C, not too much into Alfa Romeros. I noticed that we have a new Alfa Romero dealer. No, that's a Maserati deal. I take that back. Is it Maserati, Alfa Romero? It's going up in the old Honda dealership. Most of you guys know out there from driving up and down Car City, Pensacola Honda built a brand new facility on 29 across the street, up a little bit from their old facility. And the old facility now is going to be a new Highline dealership. And they are, I drove past there the other day and they are remodeling. They got storm damage, but they are open. So they have a facility, half of the facility is open. So we always ask you if you're going to buy locally. So if you're going to buy a brand new car, obviously we would love you to buy a used car from Frontier Motors. That's what this show is all about. But if you're going to buy new, we always urge you to shop out of town, but buy in town. I have a lot of customers, I get irritated with them because they shop in town first and then they buy a car out of town for $500 less. Well, do it the opposite. Go out of town, get your best deal, come to your local dealer, say, this is what I can buy the car for out of town. I'd rather buy it right here. And I'll guarantee you, if you talk to the general manager or the owner, they'll make it happen. Sometimes when you talk to the sales managers, because they're paid on profits, they might pass on a particular deal. And I always get a little bit irritated with customers that say, well, they wouldn't come even close to that price. If you talk to the right people, you will buy it in town. And it's really nice to do business in town, and they get your trade in. So there's a lot of other things that happen when you trade locally. The Chevy Sonic is Sonic. They sold 60 or 70,000 Sonics, discontinued. Don't ask me why. Well, you can ask me why, because I know why. They're not making any money on these small cars. SUVs and pickup trucks is where they make their money, and pickup truck segment is the largest selling segment in the United States. The number one selling vehicle in the United States last month was an F-150, number two was a Ram pickup truck, and number three was a Chevy Silverado. So figure it out. And these vehicles are averaging $50,000 retail. The average car retails for about $36,000. The average pickup truck is over $50,000, as much as $70,000 for a 150, which is crazy. And if you get up into the 3500s and 2500 series trucks, they can be as much as $100,000. It's mind-boggling. You know, you could put $50,000 down on an F-350 pickup truck and still have $800 a month car payments. It's just absolutely crazy. Have no clue how they're selling them, and they can't keep them on the shelf. So somebody out there is making some money. The Dodge Journey and Grand Caravan are discontinued. The Ford Fusion, one of the best-selling sedans, is discontinued. Matter of fact, Ford just announced that other than an electric car, the only car they're going to make next year is the Mustang. Isn't that crazy? All their cars are gone. The Focus, the Fusion, the Fiesta, the Taurus, completely eliminated. All for SUVs. And I'm not sure if that's bad or good. I guess if you've been used to driving a car like a Ford Taurus or a Chevy Impala, you'd be pretty irate that you can't replace that car unless you go to the imports like a Lexus or a Genesis or a Toyota or Honda or Nissan. The Shelby GT350 is history. Now they do make a 550 GT Shelby, but the 350 is gone. The Civic SI and the Civic two-door coupe are gone. And so anyways, I got sidetracked by giving you this list, by letting you know, don't be discouraged if your favorite car has been discontinued. They will make that car into an SUV. And of course, there are a lot of advantages for SUVs. As I mentioned before, they are now getting as good a gas mileage, maybe not as good, but very good gas mileage compared to what they used to get, and very close to the car siblings. Also, I feel a safer car, and also quite a bit more carrying capacity and headroom and legroom on an SUV versus a car. Some of the trunks on some of these cars weren't the best. So, a couple things when we talk about Frontier Motors that makes us a little bit different. Number one, we don't sell cars. And people say, well, why do you advertise you don't sell cars? Well, because there's a difference in selling a car and having a customer come in and pick one out. And what I mean by that is that when you're an independent dealer, when you come to Frontier Motors, which we're the independent, it's like going to a car show. Especially important if you're really not sure what you want. If you think you want a mid-size SUV and you're thinking new, and you want to look at a Ford Explorer, Then you want to go to Chevy dealer and look at the Chevy Traverse, maybe at the GMC Acadia or the Buick Enclave, and then you can go to the imports, maybe look at a GX 460 in the Lexus version, maybe in the Infiniti, we've got the QX60 or QX50 out there. I can go on and on. Well, you've got to hit all those dealerships, talk to all those salespeople, all those managers that are all going to try to put the squeeze on you to make that buying decision today. And that's why people don't like car shopping. Well, Frontier Motors would make it so much easier. You can shop at your leisure. We have a price list that we can give you. We print daily. It's up to date. And the price list has the equipment, the mileage, and also the NADA value and our asking price on that vehicle. So you know already what the price range is. In the state of Florida, if you don't know that, the dealers do not have to put the price on the car. Now, it's interesting. 25 years ago, when I moved down here from Wisconsin, they have a state law that the price has to be on the car. And as a matter of fact, you can't change that price except for once within 30 days. So you can't change it every day you feel like it. Where in Florida, they don't have those laws. They still have a window sticker we have to put on there. And the reason that they make you put a window sticker on there is because the window sticker tells you if the vehicle is as is or if it has some type of a warranty. All the vehicles that you buy from Frontier Motors that have under 100,000 miles on it are going to have up to a 100,000 mile warranty, up to 10 years from the original manufacturing date. So if, for example, you buy a 5-year-old car with 50,000 miles on it, you've got 5 more years and another 50,000 miles on the drivetrain, which is the engine and the transmission and the drive axle. And that's at no charge on every car we buy. Most of the cars that we're selling still have factory warranty, which supersedes the warranty that we give you. And even if the vehicle has more warranty, is over 100,000 miles, we put a 1 month, 30-day warranty on the engine, transmission, drive. So just so you know that you feel confident when you're driving out of there, you're not driving a car off the lot with a bad motor and a bad transmission. And you never know when something can break. As you drive down the road, I have a lot of customers that say, well, I'm not interested in even listening to the Frontier Motor Show because I don't need a car. And 4 days later, they're at the dealership. Well, what happened? Well, somebody T-boned me and creamed my car, and now it's totaled. I need a replacement. Or like our friend that's looking at the Continental, he's got a Cadillac that just the engine finally blew on it. It costs $5,000 for a motor, and the car is not worth $5,000, so he's going to replace that car with something new. Or if you're driving down the road and you're looking at your odometer right now and it shows 150,000 miles on it, you might think about maybe replacing that car before it departs, before it breaks down on you, because that way you're not in a hurry. You don't want to be in a hurry to buy a car because yours is stopped. Matter of fact, if you did that, I would urge you to rent a car for even a week just to take the time to make sure that the car you're buying is the one you really want. You can always call Frontier Motors for free advice. That's one of the things that we always talk about, that we started when we started 23 years ago, is that we are the dealer to go to when you're in the car market for free advice. Now, what does that mean? That means if you found a car, maybe at a private individual, maybe at a used car lot or even a new car lot, and you want to know if it's a good car, bad car, we'll share that information with you. We'll give you our opinion. And if it's a bad car, we'll tell you, hey, stay away from that car. Consumer Reports and our experience shows that that car is very problematic. Now, I'll give you an example. If you're looking at a 13-year-old BMW, I would say no way. If you're looking at a 13-year-old Toyota or Honda or Lexus product or even Nissan, I would say absolutely. Because based on my experience, not just Consumer Reports, I can tell you if it's a best car or if it's the worst car to buy. And you want to go on percentages. Not all 13-year-old BMWs have problems. Matter of fact, I had a customer in the other day that was looking at buying another BMW because he had such good luck with his. But that's 1 out of 10. The other 9 people said I'd never buy another one because they had nothing but issues with it. And everybody knows that car is an expensive car to fix. Now, I'm not talking about the newer BMWs. I'm not talking about a car that's 4 years old, 5 years old, or newer. I'm talking about the older ones. They had a lot of engine problems, a lot of electrical problems, a lot of oil leaks and things like that. And a fixed oil leak on a BMW is starting at $1,500 to $2,000. That's the starting price on a BMW. That's why I would urge you not to buy an older one. But that's the free advice that I'm talking about. The other thing that's very important when you buy a car from your neighbor or a relative or maybe somebody at work or somebody's got one at the Navy Lemon Lot or whatever, you call us for the price. You call us with the ID number of the car, and the ID number can be found on the left-hand bottom corner of the windshield or on the door, or most people will have it on their insurance card. If you have your insurance card in your wallet or purse, the insurance card will have the ID number on it. It's a 17-digit number. If you give me that number, I will run the Carfax report at no charge. Carfax reports are about $42, including tax right now for one. I will run as many as you want at no charge. Now, the reason we do that is because we do get residual business by doing this, because if we run a Carfax report on your neighbor's car and you find out it's been in 3 major accidents, you might consider twice about buying that car, or perhaps maybe making sure that you get a super deal on that car that's been in 3 accidents. Where if I've got a car like that in stock that has 0 accidents and it's the same price, I might persuade you to buy our car. And that's one of the things that we do by having between 300 and 350 cars in stock, as many as 425. But lately, in the last 6 months, we've had between 300 and 350 cars. That's a lot of inventory to choose from. And a lot of times when you call with that ID number of the car that you're thinking about buying somewhere else, we have that twin car in stock. And you can use that as an example of how much should it be, and of course the free history report. So you can use the information, and let's say we're asking $20,000 for our car and the person you're talking to is asking $22,000, you can easily get them to drop their price by $2,000 to be competitive with our price. If they don't do that, again, that's where we end up making the sale, because hopefully we'll have the right car in stock and the right color and the right equipment in stock for you to make sure that we can at least earn your business that way. One of the things that we also do, folks, is if we don't have the right car, we have a great locate service, which means that you come in and you tell us what you're looking for, and then we find it for you. I had a lady in the storm that her Volvo got totaled and it got flooded, and she said, I want a black Volvo and it has to have a light colored interior. Well, all the local dealers had them in stock, but they didn't have any with a light colored interior. She wanted that light cream colored interior, or the light gray, and everything had black interior. So it took me about 3 weeks, and I finally found exactly the car that they're looking for. And this is what I'm talking about, that I did that without a signature, without a deposit. We call it a locate service that we do that. A lot of times we'll buy these cars for our lot anyways, and if I'm going to buy it for the lot, I'm going to cater it to what you're looking for. Now, if you come in, you want me to find a Maserati or a Lamborghini, we're going to only do that with a signature and a deposit, because that's not something that I would normally stock. But the other models out there that are, even if it's a Lexus or BMW or Jaguar, we will buy those cars for the lot, and we have no problem going ahead and doing it just on a handshake. And we'll give you the price before we get it. So there's not going to be a sticker shock. We'll give you a trade-in value before we get it, so you know exactly what you're going to get for the trade. If you're financing, even if you're not financing through us, we can tell you what the payments are going to be, whether it's through us or through your bank. That way there's not going to be a payment problem. I've had that happen already, where we got the car, the price was exactly what he wanted, the trade-in was there, and the payments were $150 more, not because we marked up the payments, that's just what they happen to be, even at a competitive interest rate. So we always will tell you the payments, we'll also answer all the questions, and if the car doesn't pass inspection, we don't expect you to pay us. So if the car comes in and I screwed up and I bought a bad car, it smells like smoke, it's got ding and dents on, it's got a bad Carfax report, well then just don't give me any money for it. But I've been doing this for 23 years now at this location, another 20 years at a new car dealership that I work, and I'm pretty good at now that I can pick out a car that you will not reject because of the condition of the car. Matter of fact, when customers come to the lot, one of the things they comment to our salespeople is, I can't believe these are used cars because they're so nice. You open the door, they look like a brand new car, they smell like a brand new car, there's no dings or dents, the tires are all good, all the equipment is working, there's no check engine lights on. These are things that you should be used to when you go to a car dealership, but unfortunately, a lot of car dealerships do not have the money that it takes to put their cars in the right condition before they put them on the lot. For example, car comes in, it's got bad tires, doesn't make it a bad car, they just need to be replaced. Maybe it's got a crack or a chip in the windshield. Well, that costs between $200 and $300 if you don't have insurance for it. The spare tire is missing. Maybe there's something wrong with the car as far as mechanically that you might have to put brakes on the car or put a power steering pump in it. Well, guess what? This all costs money. And the dealers can't borrow the money to fix those cars up. So guess what they do? They don't fix them up. They put them on the lot and they try to sell them as is, maybe reduce the price a little bit, then you got to do the work. Well, we don't buy cars like that. If we buy cars at the auction, which we do, we buy cars from private individuals, we get them on trade-in. and we also buy them at the auction. The ones that we buy at the auctions have to be guaranteed by the auction, or we don't buy them, which means if they're a bad car for whatever reason, that they'll buy them back from us. The other thing is they do condition reports, so I already know that if the car is not rated, at least we call it in our scale, a 1 to 10, if it's not at least a 9 or above, I don't even look at that car. That what makes a difference. I don't want to get a car and recondition it. I want to buy a car that somebody had for a short period of time, that they took really good care of it. And if it's a trade-in that might be 10 or 12 years old, that I can get the service history, I can talk to the person that owned the car, so that I feel confident if I sell that car to you, that it's going to be a good car for years to come. Now, we've only got about 4 minutes left, so I want you to know that if you have a car accident, do not settle with the insurance company until you talk to Frontier Motors. We will tell you what the replacement/book value of that car is. And these are not the books on the internet. These are not the Kelley Blue books or the Edmunds. This is an official NADA guide book that your bankers and credit unions and a lot of insurance companies use. Now, some insurance companies have gone to comparables, which means that they'll tell you, well, there's a car over here and over to here and over here, just like yours, that's selling way under book value. So they want you to accept less than book value. I can get you comparables that are higher than theirs to try to get you the extra money. The other thing we can do for you is your vehicle is not totaled, but it has been hit by somebody else. You have diminished value coming, which means the vehicle's value, because of the history now on that car, has been diminished. You should get some extra money from the other person's insurance company in the form of a check, so that when you trade that car in, even if it's a year or 2 years later, because you'll get less money, you should be made whole. That's called diminished value. We are the only dealer that I know in Pensacola that will give you a letter of diminished value on any make and model. I know I had a customer the other day that was from that had a Hyundai, and Alan Turner gave him a letter of diminished value because it happened to be a Hyundai. But I think we're the only ones that do it on any make and model. So that is our opinion in writing, signed by one of our managers, our appraisers, that say this is what we feel. Our opinion is that the vehicle has been devalued because of an accident. But it has to be a moderate or major accident, and it has to be someone else's fault. If you hit a tree, you're not going to get diminished value. Now, I don't know if that happens if the tree hits you, but that's a whole different subject. 2 minutes left. Frontier Motors is located at 230 Beverly Parkway. If you've never been to Frontier Motors, we are the same road as Brent Lane. It's got 5 names, but Brent Lane turns into Beverly Parkway right at crossroad 29 there. And we're down about a quarter mile on the right-hand side. We do have about a 12-foot buffalo out front, and that is our sign. So you'll see the buffalo. You'll know that's Frontier Motors. As I said before, between 300 to 350 cars and trucks of all makes and models in stock. There's a no-pressure selling policy, which means that you can kick tires all by yourself. We can give you a price list. Our sales reps are there to take your order. And the way we do this is we tell you, here's the asking price. Let me see if I can do any better. They go to the manager within 5 minutes. What we do is give you an out-the-door price in writing, which means it's going to include the taxes, the dock fee, the license plate transfer fee, the title fee. If there's any other fees involved, we're going to do that in writing. That way, when you're comparing apples to apples. And always ask the other dealer for the total out-the-door price, not just the out-the-door price, because a lot of times they'll leave the dock fee off, they'll leave the tax, they'll include the taxes, but they won't put in the license plate. License plate transfer or new license plate fee can be as much as $500. That would make a difference on the bottom line, wouldn't it? Again, Frontier Motors, FrontierMotorsInc.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Got the right price, Frontier will treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.